Well, first of all, welcome. I'm Rivera, and this is my debut collection of poems called Troubling Accents. It was published by Xavier Review Press in association with Xavier University out of New Orleans. The title of the collection is meant to function in two ways: troubling as in making more complicated in the sense of Southern dialect, also in terms of troubling as in disturbing. The first poem from the collection is also Troubling Accents, and the epigraph comes from William Faulkner's Sanctuary. And part of the lore behind that is, in Southern lore, if you are able to kiss your own elbow, it was the idea that you could change your sex or your gender. And in this particular scene, a girl is about to be raped in a barn, and of course at that moment, the thing that she wants most is to change her gender. And with that being said, Troubling Accents, the epigraph. I think about what they tell children about kissing your elbow, and I tried to. I actually did. I was that scared. William Faulkner from Sanctuary. Leave it to a Southerner to puncture the ordinary, transmuting violence and my hatred for certain tones into something brutal and beautiful and vulgar, like pie-head saturnine boys knifing belt notches for lays. To have some white man suggest I go slow, no matter that the air is too humid to sustain cicadas and serrie-clapboard houses, along with my desperate need to question. What few answers I found only led to more compunction, making a slattern purple-mouthed woman seem almost justified as she lay among the chaff, desperate to slip the yoke of fate. I ran from that land to hide in the New South. There are manners like moribund magnolias. Effluvium still seeps from every flowery syllable I breathe. I cannot dissemble whence I come. Now, not quite an expatriate, I have found a place inside myself where I can be comfortably nostalgic, my ears alert for yawls and nims and all those troubling accents of home. I'm from Gulfport, Mississippi originally, and it's a corridor along the Gulf Coast. And one of the things that is troublesome about being from the area is that one is a kind of drug corridor, and two, the idea of there's this built-in survivor's guilt, because you go home and you see grown men riding around on bicycles, not for the environment or health reasons, just because that's their only means of transportation. So you just know that you've escaped a similar fate. The title is called Bootstraps, and that plays into the structural myth of if you just work hard enough, you'll be able to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But that doesn't take into account subpar education or not being able to qualify for a home mortgage, whatever it may be. Bootstraps. Snowball truck 2 blocks away, bells plink and chime Joplin's entertainer. No one stirs, a coastal December, 72 degrees and humid. The grizzled terrier 2 houses down yaps at my nerves, fleshes out a dream of a tenderloin and strychnine. This afternoon, I ambled along the iron rails and wooden planks of the trestle until I came upon 2 girls and a boy, tinsel-plaited and ashened, searching for cans. 3 angular vultures finding sustenance amid decay. I slumped and sat near tears, cursing and chunking stones. This morning, we attended a drug bust before sunrise service, visited with the few folks I hadn't thought to think of since junior high, got word on boys I made out with once, but now wouldn't even claim, and the girl who knifed my cousin dead over hearsay. I didn't recognize the bells who had swollen up from babies, bad marriages, and the like. I heard tell of the best and brightest committing suicide or leaving home, no intention of return. My elders secretly hoped for flood and fire, a chance to rebuild rundown Garys in their golden years. Those my age work the docks or keep a sugar daddy between stints in jail. Last night, one of my second cousins shot a man in the back of the head. Most everybody says he was on that stuff, had gone on a tear. I ain't stupid enough to ask why. Another aspect of being from Gulfport is that ours was another one of the main cities hit when Hurricane Katrina came. And of course, there is the initial outpouring of emotion and humanity and just wanting to know that your family is okay. The other part is all of those families being thrown into close quarters. So we were lucky in that we only had one other family staying with us, but you frequently heard of 3, 4, 5 families all smashed in together, which led to very complicated living arrangements. The Katrina effect. As I lectured about Okies and Dust Bowls and the Great Depression, my students and I watched CNN on a mute wall-mounted behemoth. I scoured images for recognizable landmarks, dilapidated bridges, towering casinos, stretches of man-made beach, just one wind-whipped sign capable of geographically confirming my home place. Stored cell phone numbers cast up toward heaven like backslider testimony with exactly the same effect. Then, one by one, we received proof of life, confirmed safety of both life and limb. So we began washing linens, laying out giant bath bars, our thickest towels, collecting clothes and toiletries, buying whatever we lacked, while preparing red beans and rice and impromptu crab boils. We opened our doors in our humanity this once, genuinely grateful, temporarily and honestly having forgotten why a 4-hour drive had ever been a necessary ingredient of flight. Domesticity in close quarters took hold. Grown folks arguing in oh so childish ways, teenagers using washcloths doused with 409 to clean white leather kicks, continually being told what various non-mortgage parties won't eat as they lay in supine anticipation of my arrival from work to cook and serve their supper. I should definitely mention children, attitude-ridden children, surly and passive-aggressive children, children with no bedtimes and their throwback daddies holding the den, the couch, the remote hostage. I made a pallet in the walk-in closet and hid. No one made any pretense about housework, but the phone rang and rang and rang us awake way past midnight, our rough hellos met by an inexorable silence and click. My mother abandoned her refugees, cashed in a forgotten voucher to Sedona. I too must admit, I just wanted those people gone. The next poem, within my family, I am lucky to come from a line of teachers. However, the one person who wasn't a teacher was my Uncle Charles, who was called Sonny or Sonny Boy. And as soon as he was able, he moved away to California. But amidst my girl cousins, we were voracious readers. And so we would go to the library, we would find the good books, we would pass them around, which was wonderful. But being in Gulfport, Mississippi during the time, there was only so much that was actually on the shelf. So when we came across something like Judy Blume's Wifey, we thought we had hit pay dirt. But he would send the boxes of good books home, the ones that we coveted more than all the rest. One downside to being from Mississippi is that our family oftentimes just assumed that we knew things about our own family members, which we generally did not. Requiem for Sonny Boy. In the days before, when you were you, alive, and I had not become me, you were the refined uncle of books, delicately sculpted, razor tongue. Many years escaped before I knew what no one ever said. Of course, there were clues. Brief visits, decorous tables, San Francisco, a photograph taken at Fire Island, decanters and goblets, a satin robe, opera. Your hand said more than your words. You are dead 3 years now, and I have yet to write your book. Questions plague my house. Didn't you witness enough of yourself in my being? I mean, I don't know what I mean. Genealogy, genetics, theories fall apart. The world is flat. It has an edge. I saw you today, not you, but one that could have been you. A Hindu man, beautiful, coal skin, impeccably dressed, impatient with the sun. He was carrying an umbrella, intimations of the body, horse, crystal, rock, powder, a bitch's brew to medicate joy against pain. The pen will not behave, the paper is in revolt. For you, drugs, religion, home became ritual, symbol, myth. Your death, a heart attack, surprised no one. Anachronisms rarely walk the earth unscathed. AIDS is the word my family does not say. Your car in the driveway, the driver's door open, 1 foot upon the pavement, hands upon the wheel, still life. This is how you were posed. The last time I saw you, you asked for a book of poems, Rita Dove's Mother Love. I did not send it in time. I hope this will do. Okay. People who don't know me very well, I'm a hardcore introvert. However, once you get to know me, I'm somewhat talkative after I sort of assess the lay of the land. However, there's this song that we grew up cleaning to on Saturday mornings called Misty Blue by Dorothy Moore. And I wish I could sing, but it says, oh, it's been such a long, long time. It looks like I'd get you off of my mind. I can't, just the thought of you turns my whole world. And so the form is called A Bop. It was created by Alpha Michael Weaver, and you may have heard of him. He just won the Tufts Award, and so he won a big prize of $100,000, but that was after a lifetime of work. But so this is that form. Dreamweaver, after the song Misty Blue. No longer able to sleep through the night, she recounts one of her many failings, taking people she's just met out for soft-shelled crabs as a way to test their character, a means of determining what kind of friend they'll be if she shows up on their doorstep around midnight, whispering, just need to talk. The crackling air of a needle stuck in a groove buffets her ears like cupped palms. Oh, it's been such a long, long time. Looks like I'd get you off of my mind, but I can't. Just the thought of you turns my whole world. Yet another dream of being chased, Using a spoon stolen from a nightmare, a homunculus has turned the small of her back from a one-room shack into a mansion. This little man has scooped away, making space for rows and mounds, cornfields, and yellow tomatoes. Whenever she thinks himself lonely, she sings him a throaty ballad, and he can't help remembering what it is to be an empty park bench in winter. Oh, honey, just the mention of your name turns the flicker to a flame. Listen to me good, baby. I think of the things we used to do, and my whole world turns. She carries a knife, I meant to say a tongue. She confuses people when she smiles. Those black holes she calls eyes can corkscrew down upon a single thorn within a bouquet of white roses, and her one thought is of dropping the whole mess into a pot of boiling water to make grits, the universal symbol of love gone bad. One day, her scars will lacquer over, and she will become a pomaded dragonfly skittering across blue water in a bronze sky. And the last one is, I want to take you home. And this poem came about out of the idea of, you know, that I was notorious for never bringing people home when I dated people. They weren't going to last very long, so I didn't see any need to put them through the torture that my family was going to level. So I just skipped the entire process. But where it really came for me to understand it was the first person I was sort of dating seriously happened to coincide with Thanksgiving, which meant not only were they going home to meet my immediate family, but also my big extended family. And so on the 6-hour drive down from Atlanta to Gulfport, you're going, I need to coach this person, otherwise there's no way that they're going to understand that when a woman walks in, you stand up immediately. If the trash needs to be taken out, you don't ask if it needs to be taken out, you ask where does it go. Somebody gives you a plate of food, you eat all of it, and if you can't eat all of it, you figure out how to dispose of it very surreptitiously. All of that comes into play. Or if you're speaking to my elders, you don't correct their grammar, you just go along with what they say, right? Don't dare condescend. So I wanted to take you home. I wanted to take you home to show you wisteria knotted like snakes, dirt clods you could eat, burnt air heavy enough to prop up porches, exactly what a crowbar could do to a windshield. To show you how to listen, a way to recognize the absence of sound when the dead travel among pussy willows like slow-moving katydids, why the wind is no colder than my drawl. No, more than that. I wanted you to stick your arm out the window you spit to test the sky for rain so you could learn the way and know whether or not to worry about fixing your face and fussing with your hair. I wanted the midday sun to steal back that pale band of skin about your wrists, the one you cling to like it's your life, so you could have some idea of the attention required to wash and season, the time necessary to coax flavor from a kettle of greens. All this I wanted to let you see so you could have a notion of my place among something more clan than tribe, so you could understand the quiet rage of my teeth and nails on your neck, mimicking the scrape and spark of a blade against stone as I pinned you against the car door, cussed your name, that night that stretched away like a tarmac of crude stairs, hot, mournful, unalterable, right before I said, it's best you leave now, go, and your voice came back full of silence and trees and clear, clear water. Baby, I'm not a tease. I wanted to walk with you down gravel roads, past the military base, up the swell to the neon cross, show you that very sparrow you've heard me rasp about. No hustling, no chicanery. I wanted you to know the slow corruptions I would have to face, every hell I would have to divorce and embrace just to be with each other with this sharecropper's lack of imagination. Thank you.